is Jacqueline Simons. Every time a high school athlete steps onto the field, there is a 20% chance that they will sustain a head injury, according to the Brain Injury Association of Virginia. Head injuries and concussions caused by contact sports are a quickly growing epidemic among young athletes, and when left undetected, concussions can result in long-term brain damage and may even prove fatal in some cases. The U.S. National Library of Medicine states that these head injuries are the second leading cause of traumatic brain injury in people ages 15 to 24. And I myself have experienced a few concussions over the years. While concussions are almost inevitable in contact sports, the lasting effects of them can be prevented. However, the poor treatment of concussions in high school sports has become a danger to athletes all around the country. To preserve young athletes' head health, mental cognition, and ability to succeed, it is critical that coaches, players, and parents are aware of the inherent dangers and the importance of reporting head injuries. Currently in Iowa, there are strict laws in place that deal with treating concussions, as stated by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. These laws state that athletes who have a concussion must sit out of activities for 48 hours and be symptom-free for 24 hours before gradually returning to play. However, many athletes will declare themselves symptom-free in order to return to play earlier than they should. There is no test currently used in high schools in order to determine when an athlete is again eligible to play, so this type of self-reporting can't be avoided or overruled. 1 out of every 5 high school athletes will get a concussion from playing sports, but there are many more than this every year that sustain head injuries, according to the Headcase Health Management Company. While the laws we have are beneficial for those diagnosed with concussions, there is nothing that dictates the diagnosis and treatment of head injuries, which can be just as serious. Concussions and head injuries can result in memory loss, personality changes, speech impairment, permanent brain damage, and many other serious problems. The Cerebrum Health Centers reports that high school football accounts for 47% of all reported sports concussions, with 33% of concussions occurring during practice, as well as a total of around 67,000 cases each year for the sport of football. After football, hockey and soccer are the next leading causes. Most of these head injuries occur from contact with the ground, another player, or a piece of equipment such as a goalpost or a hockey stick. Ignoring a head injury or continuing to participate in athletics while one sustains a head injury can worsen the effects or extend the amount of time that they are present. Allowing athletes to continue playing with a head injury can be extremely dangerous when a second head injury occurs on top of the first one. This is called second impact syndrome and can lead to more dangerous neurocognitive effects such as brain swelling, head trauma, coma, and in some cases death. So with all these consequences, why is treating a concussion not more of a priority in high school sports? Studies show that around 45% of high school athletic concussions go untreated or unreported every year, according to the Avoiding the Technical Knockout report by Aaron P. Andrews. Concussions in young athletes are often left untreated because of the athlete's apprehensiveness to tell others when they are feeling symptoms. When an athlete becomes scared to report their symptoms, it can become fatal, as it did for one young rugby player who just didn't want to let anyone down by sitting out. As stated in the his story is told in the Guardian article, Death of a Schoolboy, Why Concussion is Rugby Union's Dirty Secret. This player was Ben Robinson, a 14-year-old boy who didn't get to live out his life due to the false symptom reports and unawareness by his coaches. Ben was hit in the head 3 times during one game, and his coach and trainer still allowed him to go back into the game because he told them that he only had a headache. Tragically, Ben later died from his head injuries, but this was completely preventable. Not only do we see athletes who are afraid to report symptoms, but coaches and trainers as well. Trainers and athletes are afraid to report symptoms because of how serious they are in the media and how much they can impact a sports career. Trainers and athletes have become very hesitant towards saying that a player has a concussion due to the laws that surround it and the attention that it gets in the media. Requiring a player to sit out for 48 hours and then take another 24 hours off symptom-free can set a player back in their training and competitive schedule due to the fact that this means they have 3 days required to take off of practice and competition. In high school sports, this is a problem because of the lack of medical attention that these young athletes are receiving. The rate of high school concussions is double that of the rate of them at the college level. This is due to the enhanced medical attention that the college athletes are able to receive, but is very unlikely that even the top high schools in the nation could offer the same treatment. With all of this being said, however, there are steps that are being taken to improve the safety of not only high school athletes, but athletes of all ages. Some of these changes that are being made include improving football helmets by adding more padding in order to protect the player's head, improving baseball and softball helmets so that they can withstand a harder blow, and implementing headgear into the game of soccer for both men and women. Overall, there are many serious consequences, both physical and social, that come along with a concussion. Due to this seriousness, there are a number of cases of athletes and trainers downplaying the significance of head injuries sustained during high school sports in order to continue participation during the season. This is the problem seen happening in high schools around the country, but we must decide whether ignoring the headache for one night under the stadium lights is worth the long-term effects that could affect an athlete for life.